Hi everyone, welcome to Bonnie Carol Lee Makes Cards. Today's card features two stamp sets from Studio Katia. I will be using one of the two floral images found in Peony Trimmings and the big, bold Happy Birthday to You found in It's Your Birthday. To begin this card, I stamped the floral image vertically on the left side of an A2 size panel of Bristol Smooth cardstock. I used Ink on 3's Fade Out ink. I did stamp the image a couple of times. This ink is perfect for no-line coloring. Both stamps included in this stamp set are very detailed. Because I'm doing no line coloring, I want to have control over where my color goes. I've decided to use Zig markers and a number 1 paintbrush. The detail in both of the stamps included in this stamp set are very fine. I started my coloring with the leaves. I used light green for the small leaves and Persian green for the bigger ones. Although these images were quite small, I was easily able to drop in color at the base of each leaf with my Zig marker. I then used my small paintbrush to pull the color up, creating a gradient. I should mention that before I put my wetted paintbrush to paper, I did dab it off on paper towel so that it was a fairly dry brush. If I needed more water to pull that color, I did it sparingly. Following this procedure, I was able to paint these very tiny areas without spilling paint out into the background. The number 1 brush was also perfect for painting in the fine lines of the stems of the leaves. As I painted these lines, I used very light pressure. After painting the berries with purple, I moved on to the first flower. I used light violet. As I applied color to each petal, I began first at the base. If the petal was overlapped by another petal, I also shaded that area. To mark the little folds at the top of the flower petals, I used an inverted V. The paintbrush was used to pull the color and soften any of the lines. It did take me a fair amount of time to paint these images, and for the sake of time I will jump forward in the painting. For the flower centers, I began with pale yellow, painting the entire area. I then used yellow to put in a shadow area at the base of the center and also some dot detail. Before moving on to my second flower, I did a few touch-ups. The second flower was colored with deep violet and the third flower with purple. Because the painting of the petals is very repetitive, I am going to put some music on. I will be jumping forward a few times. I'm very cognizant of how busy people can be, and I don't want my videos to be off-putting because they're too long. So sit back for a minute and relax and enjoy. Okay, just about done the painting. You may have noticed that I work on adjacent petals. Because so little water is used, I don't have to worry about paint spilling into areas that I don't want it to. I thought I would mention that in real time this took me over an hour to paint. I stamped Happy Birthday to You using Distress Oxide inks. I inked the top half of the stamp with picked raspberry and the lower half with wilted violet. I made sure that the two colors overlapped so that they would blend together in the middle. The stamp was inked and stamped a couple of times. The sentiment was coated with Wow Clear Sparkle embossing powder and heat set. The secondary sentiment was stamped with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I cut a panel of black cardstock the same size as my card base. I popped the card base in a square so that I could align the black cardstock easily. I trimmed my painted panel so that I would have an 1/8 of an inch border and adhered it to the card base. I finished up my card with Studio Cash's June crystals. This mixture contains both opaque and clear embellishments. I picked out the transparent ones and put them around the floral image and the sentiment. That wraps up a birthday card featuring Studio Katia, Happy Birthday to You, and Peony Trimmings. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I thank you so much for visiting.